Welcome, everybody, to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Hi, Ginny. Hi, Rachel. Here comes Ginny. No, we don't need that again. Here comes Ginny.
Ginny. Oh. Bam! Here she is. I love that your background is matching the picture on the camera, and it's so consistent.
Yeah, it's the same background, but Ginny tells me that she uses an AI background, so I think I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. Because seriously, I have this huge screen up behind me that covers my whole library. So it'll be nice to pull that down, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, you look great in all of your glory. And of course, your most amazingness of all these years doing this natural medicine thing. I can't think of anybody who's a bigger poster child for natural medicine than you. And quite frankly, Mercola and all these guys don't look as good as you do. I mean, they just don't.
All right.
Yeah. So you're knocking it out. You look amazing. I know you feel amazing. You're out walking with your weights every morning. And just having a fantastic time. You're doing all the things in community that you do with your nonprofit. And of course, with Akoa Farms, the organic farm there that you support and work with. And you've got such a group of people that are around you. And now you're being featured on so much social media. We're on X Live, which is so much fun. Making America Healthy Again, where all the Maha people hang out. And we have a new group joining us every single Monday night. So we're grateful for them. And then, of course, we're on YouTube. And then, of course, who knows what's next. And we have all our international distributors, and they're flaunting you all over the place. And they're translating your book into other languages. And we've almost got the Chinese edition of the Magnesium Miracle nailed down, which will be a major coup to have that book in Mandarin. It's already in Taiwan. And the Taiwanese people are very receptive to that book, and they use it regularly. And then we've got our people in the EU who are translating Magnesium, the Missing Link to Total Health, into Polish and German. And so that's going to be fantastic. And Ivar, of course, who we love so much, has already translated into Estonian and has distributed 12,000 books, Carolyn.
Oh, wow.
In Estonia. Yes. You are a major celebrity in Estonia, in this little wonderful corner of the world. And so many people are relying on your teachings all over the world. I know you were just on with Naomi from Botanica over in the UK. And your library continues, and your books and your thoughts and your insight and your intellect and your practical knowledge continue to make such a difference in the world. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time tonight, and you haven't really had the experience of Dr. Dean, hang on to your hat, because she's going to take over here in a minute, and it's a whirlwind, and you got to try to keep up with her. But the comments are, the chat line's on, and you can put your comments down, and one of our regular listeners will try to respond, and Melody Rose is there, and we have the customer service line, people standing by to talk to you. So let's roll it out, Carolyn. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about how fantastic you look, Ginny.
Oh, thank you. Last week I was crying because Rachel said I had too many wrinkles and they were showing up because I had an HDMI camera. So I doubled up on my makeup this week to see what might happen. So thank you, Carolyn.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, who is Ginny? Ginny Sanders, my co-host. She runs things. She runs my company and does such an amazing job and takes care of all the things that I won't take care of and, and keeps things going so smoothly. And I appreciate you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
well, it's my joy. Absolutely. We have a great staff. We have great customers, great people all around the world. So we're very blessed. Very blessed. And
Okay.
Rosie Rose, who does all your books. Speaking
Yes, oh, Meldios. Yes, the books. You see, what happened a few years ago, the FDA started telling us, our company specifically, well, you can't have testimonials on your websites. You can't tell people that your formulas are helping people. Only drugs cure disease. And if you want to say your magnesium helps heart disease, all you can say is that, well, it may help high blood pressure, nothing else. And if you say it helps the 68 conditions caused by magnesium deficiency, then you're making a drug claim and you have to do the $1 billion study to prove what you're saying. It is, I don't know what's happening now that half of the FDA has been fired and let go. Hopefully they'll remove their sites on dietary supplement companies. We've all suffered. So this is to say that Melody Rose is taking all my books from the past, and we had to sort of sanitize them and take out product names. But Ginny, what's so funny is the Magnesium Miracle, when I did the 2017 edition, I think it was the third edition, I put I put the name of our magnesium in hundreds of times and they didn't even remove it. So that's our biggest advertiser is the Magnesium Miracle. And
That's
people need to have these books. You have to be using these books. I know the titles are backwards, but these books will save lives.
Amen. Amen. That is the truth right there. And I remember many, many years ago, somebody was saying, well, how do I know it's going to work? And Carolyn said, magnesium has a biological imperative in the body and it cannot be denied. And it's so true.
Mm-hmm. And you'll hear me say in podcasts, which you can follow my podcast at drcarolyndean.com, where we have my weekly blogs. But in the lineup will be interviews. I see Dr. Pinkston's interview that we did a few weeks ago. So what I want to say about my interviews, I will often say to people, because they'll ask, well, what magnesium should I take? What about the magnesium compounds? I say, certainly the picometer size stabilized ion of magnesium is the best absorbed, the least laxative. But because magnesium is so necessary in the body, 80% of known metabolic functions use magnesium. You can take any magnesium at any dose and experience some benefit because it is so needed. As Ginny says, it's an imperative for the body to get the magnesium to get things working, including your energy. I have energy at 76 because I take my picometer magnesium. Right, Ginny?
That's right. And all the rest of us have energy at our respective ages because we try to keep up with Carolyn. That's exactly right.
Right.
And we take, of course, Rena.
So we're featuring still the magnesium, the missing link to total health is in our library today.
Yeah.
And going to this week's blog, it is about high blood pressure. I already mentioned how it is the only FDA approved claim that can be made for magnesium in general. So in this blog, it's the second one I've done on heart health. I have a book called Heart Health, but it hasn't been sanitized yet. So some of this information is in Magnesium, the Missing Link. So here's what I start with in this article, and I'll just go through some highlights. In 2017, the treatment of blood pressure changed dramatically because the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association both decided to change the blood pressure targets to lower values. By this, I mean instead of 140 over 90 being hypertensive, it now became 130 over 80, making half the American population hypertensive and ripe for drug treatment. Exactly. So I go over in this article the commonly held beliefs about hypertension that you may find on the internet, like the shocking statistic that half of the adults in the US are hypertensive with high blood pressure, and that 3/4 of them do not have this life-saving condition under control. This is what allopathic medicine is saying, under control with medications. So this is pretty stressful for someone with elevated blood pressure or with a family history of, oh my gosh, my blood pressure. So what it ends up being is just lucrative for big pharma. Blood pressure medications are often prescribed for life, and patients are cautioned to never take themselves off their medication. And what I've seen is blood pressure is the gateway disease for people getting on the medication merry-go-round. So here's what happens. You're under stress, but you have to go for your annual physical. The nurse or the nurse practitioner, or I say jokingly, the janitor in the hallway takes your blood pressure over your clothes. You know this is happening. I've seen it. And said, oh, your blood pressure is elevated. And the doctor or nurse practitioner looks at your blood pressure. Well, you've had a bit of elevation. It's time to put you on blood pressure medications, which would start with a diuretic. They put you on a diuretic. What does that do? It drains your body of fluid to take the pressure off your bloodstream to reduce your pressure. So they're dehydrating you. They're taking away life-giving water from you to manipulate your blood pressure. While this fluid is draining out, it takes out your magnesium, your sodium, and other minerals as well. You come back a month or so later to have your blood pressure checked again. It's even worse because you've been drained of magnesium. So the doctor said, well, we better put you on two more. They'll give you 2 more blood pressure drugs, calcium channel blocker. What's a natural calcium channel blocker? Magnesium. And an angiotensin inhibitor, which is just does some crazy things with the kidneys. 3 months later, you come back to have your blood checked to make sure the drugs aren't harming your liver. And the doctor says, oh my gosh, look, you're pre-diabetic, and oh, look, your cholesterol is elevated. And they say, we caught your blood pressure in time, we caught your cholesterol in time, we caught your, what did I say, blood pressure, cholesterol, and the third thing, blood pressure, cholesterol. What happens with your pre-diabetes, cholesterol? Yeah. And then they tell you that you need metformin for your diabetes, you need more blood pressure drugs, and you have to go on a statin for your cholesterol. So you're ending up with 6 drugs because they decided in 2017 that if your blood pressure was 130, 132 over 80 or 82, you had high blood pressure. And they wanted to medicate you early on so that you wouldn't develop heart disease. But what they've done, as I said, in the medication merry-go-round, puts you on the path to heart failure. Seriously. Because all these drugs deplete magnesium. Some of them are fluoride drugs. Fluoride binds magnesium because those drugs don't just stay static. In the liver, they'll break down. In the intestines, the microbiome, the bacteria in the intestines will break down these drugs, release the fluoride. Fluoride will bind to magnesium, create a brittle substance called phthalate, And that deposits in tendons and joints and gives you the joint pain, the tendon pain. One of the FDA black box warnings for ciprofloxacin, which is an antibiotic, one of the warnings is for tendon rupture. And we've seen that in, say, athletes. What's the most horrible thing for an athlete? They'll get a bit of a cold, the doctor will give them Cipro, and they'll end up with a tendon rupture. I mean, maybe it's rare, but for the person it occurs in, it's 100%. So there's the story. And as I say I think I say it in the article, but maybe this is just the way magnesium keeps being lost, yes, to the point of heart failure. But the worst failure is doctors not understanding that they are causing magnesium deficiency heart disease. And that's why doctors don't think heart disease can be cured, because with their drugs, they expose patients to heart failure. And I also talk about 8 classes of blood pressure drugs. Seriously, if a blood pressure drug worked, you'd only have one class. You don't have one drug. But because they don't work, they have to create all these different classes of drugs. Oh, or you could take a picometer-sized stabilized ion of magnesium and be done with it. And then I go into how magnesium deficiency causes high blood pressure, so you can read about that. And of course, the supplements for high blood pressure, magnesium and vitamin C. Vitamin C is important for creating a stable, solid vascular system. Vitamin C helps you produce collagen, which helps with the strengthening of the artery walls. Magnesium is important for helping make elastin, which keeps the artery walls flexible. Potassium is very important. It's a cousin to magnesium, and they work together. The omega-3 fatty acids help make our cell membranes into what I say here, the impervious coatings that they should be. And methylated B vitamins are very important for breaking down and eliminating homocysteine, which is detrimental to heart health. So there we have it, Ginny. A lot of words. What do you say?
Well, I think that's a fantastic rundown, and it's just so exciting that we can actually align our product, Remag, that's featured at rnareset.com, with the high blood pressure claim, because it's actually authorized by the FDA.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that you may want to consider about that, if you are on high blood pressure medicine, is that I've seen at least, probably 2023 was the last one, wide scale recalls of high blood pressure medicine because they contain harmful carcinogens. And even in the case of the 2023 recall, little tiny pieces of metal. And the reason why this happens is because they're made in China and India, where they don't have the same kind of quality control that we have in this country. And they have to recall the very popular valsartan and linus-propyl, or whatever however you say those funny names. If I had to rely on a drug from China that was not manufactured in this country, or Dr. Dean's Remag, I would be relying on Remag. I must say that would be my honest evaluation. I think it would be difficult with so many high blood pressure recalls. We could ask AI how many there have been in the last 15 or 20 years, but I know there have been quite a few because I've observed them over the course of the years.
Yeah, good point, Ginny. Yeah, I think you're talking about losartan and lisinopril. I think
Yes.
those are the two
Yeah.
medicines.
Yeah.
But see, we're not telling people to get off their medications.
Nope.
Never. You
Nope.
can take all our formulas with any drug you want.
Yep.
And what will happen is as your body accepts the nutrients and makes your cells healthier, your mitochondria work better, make more energy, then any common sense, sane doctor would say, oh, your blood pressure is normal now. Maybe we should wean you off your medication. That should happen.
That's right. That's right. And watch the recall. If you're on
Mhm.
high blood pressure medicine, just watch
Mhm.
for the FDA recalls and be sure to respond to those quickly if something happens to the medication that you're on.
And look up the side effects. I remember, gosh, this is going back 35 years. There was an angiotensin inhibitor drug for blood pressure that I always used to read up the side effects of the drugs that my patients were taking.
Mm,
This this angiotensin drug, one of the side effects was a chronic cough.
mm.
So the father of one of my younger patients came in and said, "Well, my daughter says I should come in, blah blah." And he said, "I have this cough." And I said, "Are you taking medications?" He was taking that medication.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't take him off it. I sent him back to his heart doctor, and I guess they switched it out. But find out what the side effects of these drugs you're taking are, so that you're aware. The doctors aren't going to tell you. They're not going to have the time to read the 100 side effects is the average for every drug that's out there on the market. 100 side effects, and they are listed, and they're listed for legal purposes, because if the drug company doesn't list them and you try to sue for a side effect, oh no, we had it right there. You could have read it. Not our fault. So this is the duplicity of the whole big pharma business.
Yeah, yeah, it's challenging, and we're here to help you navigate it to the degree that we are able. That's for
Mhm,
sure.
mhm.
Now, Carolyn, one of the things that Nina on the chat line is asking is a reference to something you talked about earlier, and she says, "What does metformin actually do?"
Um, I'm pretty sure it just beats up your pancreas to release more insulin. You can check that out, just type in mechanism of action of metformin. Most of these diabetic drugs just beat up the pancreas, and
Um,
and it's crazy because your body has decided that you are are resistant to insulin at a certain point, and the resistance prevents blood sugar from going into the cells. And
mm,
so the sugar builds up in your blood. You get a blood test. Oh, you have high glucose. You need more insulin. But if you're at insulin resistance, then you don't need more insulin. You should get a blood test for insulin and see if it's too high. If it's too high, more won't help.
right.
What helps is getting off sugar and simple carbs, and letting the body choose, how should I say it? Letting the body take what you eat, break it down into the amount of glucose that's necessary to get into the cells. I noticed actually lately, Ginny, Mercola is back on a high carb kick, because he said,
Oh,
"Oh my gosh, we need glucose to make the mitochondria work, to make our energy."
mm,
So, I mean, this is where we have to just stay in balance, just eat eat what you cook. Let me say it that way. Eat fresh food, and try not to get into a lot of these fads. Except, I don't think intermittent fasting is a fad. I think if you can not eat until noon, which is what I try to do every day, and then take another 5 hours and eat a second meal, I think that helps stop the constant insulin that comes out if you're eating 3 meals and 2 snacks.
mm,
What you're trying to do is lower your insulin uh, access to sugar, because insulin makes fat. The more insulin you have, the more time it has in the bloodstream to grab the sugar and turn it into fat.
mm,
Seriously. So if you're just eating 2 meals a day, and you're eating, within an hour range, your insulin comes out, it deals with what you've eaten. The rest of the time, it's not out and about trying to make fat. It's not pushing that extra food into your liver as glycogen. And the glycogen buildup in livers now is is being diagnosed as fatty liver in a lot of people,
Mhm.
really gumming up people's liver, their ability to detoxify. So, what was that big question that led to that answer?
What does metformin actually do?
Right, right.
That's what it said?
Yes, and insulin, I mean, seriously, everywhere I look, and maybe it's just AI feeding me stuff. I'm seeing lectures on insulin resistance.
Mm.
I've written about that since 2000. No, since 1999 when I wrote the Magnesium Miracle. We've known about metabolic disease and insulin resistance and what to do about it. And what to do about it is often magnesium. Magnesium works behind the scenes for about 8 of the different metabolic steps to make insulin and to activate insulin and to help it work. So let's go on. Let's go on to the next thing, Ginny. I could be here all day saying the same thing over and over.
Very good. All righty. Next. Maha.
All right.
Making America healthy again. And you've got a report card, right, Carolyn?
Right. So I mean, can you believe it? Have we been doing this show for 14 weeks already?
No, according to Bob, according to Bob, it's 15 weeks.
Oh,
This is
so,
our 15th week.
right. So what we did for the first 14 weeks was take one point at a time and go over what I know about what I do to make America healthy again and what I'd like to see done. And what we're doing now is, as Ginny said, giving a bit of the report card. So what I did, Ginny, was I looked at Bobby Kennedy and the cabinet meeting April 10th. And here's what he said he's doing. He's reassessing fluoride in the water.
Mm.
And he said in August, a report was released by the National Toxicity Program that exposure to fluoride lowers your IQ. So, ain't that special?
Yeah, ain't that special?
And I've been talking about fluoride forever. It was assessed in some community that had high fluoride in the water that the children of a very specific age group had less dental cavities. So they took that little report and made it into an industry to get rid of fluoride. It was a byproduct of something or other, some industrial process. And they created this toxin. It's a poison. It binds magnesium. It does so many things that you can look up. What is it? Fluorideaction.net, I think, is the main activist site to find out more. Number 2, he said Utah was the first state to end fluoride. Now, I didn't think we had fluoride here in Hawaii. I checked it out when I first came here to see what water purification I needed. And in my county, they don't have fluoride, but it can be state to state and county to county. So I guess Utah just banned every bit of fluoride in the drinking water. But then go into your dentist's office, and they're trying to give you fluoride treatments. Look in any pharmacy. I looked once when I was doing one of my Future Health Now modules on either fluoride or just dental products. Every toothpaste had fluoride in it. So check your labels. And then Bobby Kennedy said they wanted to advance MAHA legislation to get soda off of the food stamp allotment for people, which is a good idea. And food stamps, it's going to be a big topic because there's so many people, see it here in Hawaii, able-bodied people on food stamps, which means it kind of takes it away from people who really need the food stamps. Wants to take chemicals out of baby formulas. Sounds like a good idea. They want to get good food into school lunch programs. Now, what book It was probably my sugar book, Ginny. Sugar Without the Icing is the title. Again, it has to be sanitized, but in that book, I reported on the studies. Was it Schoenthaler and Schaus, Schauss, Alex Schaus? They were doing studies in prisons and schools showing that if the children or the delinquents were fed good food, they had better grades and less violence and irritability. And I don't know if it was that book or somewhere I wrote about actual school programs where they would have a garden where the kids would work in the garden. This is what we're working on here at the farm, is having school farm tour programs where kids come and see where everything is grown. They pick some salad greens. We make them a salad. Kids don't even know where food comes from anymore. They're just so used to the toxic, ultra processed toxic foods. They want to eliminate dyes, from the school lunches to increase academic performance, mental and physical health. Tons of studies that show this, never been implemented. Schoenthaler did a study on 1 million children in the New York school system, showing that taking the junk food out of the cafeteria increased their test scores. And then he wants to restrict the use of cell phones in schools because they can dramatically affect school performance. He wants to restrict and stop animal testing and switch to AI testing. Definitely, definitely, definitely. No more beagle testing, Dr. Fauci. And he said something about 38% of US adults are pre-diabetic. Autism, it used to be 1 in 10,000 when he was a kid, and now it's 1 in 31 children. And he wants to do research to find out the cause of autism. And he actually said he'd have an answer by September. There's a lot of information out there. It's just been sidelined. So that was his list. So that's the MAHA thing. But then I bumped into this MedPage article or a little section that unseriously quipped in one of their headlines that RFK Jr. ponders cutting Medicare for donut eaters. So the comment was about a Washington Post article that said or quoted Bobby Kennedy saying, in a wide-ranging interview, HHS Secretary pondered whether society should pay for the health care of Americans who smoke or eat donuts. And it's a question we all us healthy people do ask, because that's what's really escalated our healthcare costs, is all these people that they wait to get their Medicaid wheelchair because they think it's owed to them. We have to teach people to hope for better, hope for good health, instead of hope that they're just taken care of in their last stages. It doesn't have to be like that. So there you go.
Very good. Very good. So after reading the list and seeing what's been accomplished so far, how are you on a scale of 1 to 10 with your pessimism about how this may or may not go down? Where are you at?
Well, I've been very critical of all the steps that need to be done to make us healthy again. I'd still say that all these things are important, but where they affect us individually is they let people know through the media, through reporting, if it does get out on mainstream media at all, that these things are important. There's something we can do about them, that the government is looking at these offenses to our health and working on them. So yeah, what Bobby Kennedy is doing, I think, is excellent, and I hope he's not blocked too much, because there are people on the other side that just want to block. They don't care about the health of children in the sense, maybe one on one, they say, oh, yeah, I care about the children, but they don't care enough to put it aside from their political aspirations to knock down the other side so that they can be in power.
Correct.
That's what we're up against
Yeah.
on all levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Excellent. Excellent report.
Okay, questions and comments. Actually, I don't have any, and I could, but we've spent some time already on those things. So let's continue into a helpful hack. And Jenny, it's so funny. I'm going to go into the Dean diet again. And you know what the Dean diet is? It's just eating 4 foods or 4 food groups a day and making them your whole diet, which is like a calorie restriction. It The way you handle it could be you intermittent fast, like I've said earlier in this show. You have 2 meals a day with a good separation between the 2 meals, and I'm looking at just, which is what I do now every second day. I'll have my restructure protein powder. I'll have a protein, which for me is usually a boiled egg from the farm. I'll have a fat, which is an avocado, and usually just a half an avocado because they're so big. And then I'll have my fruit, which has fiber. I'm not drinking a fruit juice, which is just straight fructose. You want to have your fruit with fiber. So the protein doesn't just have to be an egg. You can have 4 ounces of chicken or fish, or if you're a vegetarian, have a meal of lentils or legumes. Your fat can be the avocado or nuts and seeds. Your fruit, I eat oranges or kumquats, which are awesome, or it can be an apple or a pear, which are kind of low glycemic. So what I would do is I have the egg and the avocado together with some hot sauce, and then I'll have my restructure. Oh, my protein powder. Not allowed to say names. I'll have the protein powder and my fruit kind of together later on in the day, or I'll switch it around. So that's the Dean diet, and every second day I'll do this, and then the other day, I mean, I don't do too much different. I'll have more of a chicken meal or a salmon meal. Wild caught salmon we can get at the farmer's market now from his name is Bubba, actually, from Bubba, who has company up in Alaska, and they ship down to him, and he sells at the markets in Maui. So um, one day the Dean diet, and another day sort of an ordinary diet, and it puts you in control of your diet, and I think your stomach kind of gets a little smaller so that you're fine eating a smaller meal, because it's easy to eat neat when it's really tasty, but you're stretching your stomach. So by eating less, you're letting your stomach go to a more normal size. So that's all I have to say about that, Ginny.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I started my intermittent fasting again, but I will do your 4 Dean diet soon.
Okay.
I'm going to try it.
I think Ginny said that last week, but we
Said
will.
it the last 2 weeks, but I do mean it. Eventually, I'll be there.
Okay. So are we ready to move on, or are there questions?
Michelle said, did Dr. Dean lose the 5 pounds she mentioned that she wanted to lose using this 4 food method?
Yes, I had 5 pounds of Maui fruit fat.
Maui fruit bad.
Yeah.
You're so funny. You always do that. You're like, "I ate too much fruit."
Yeah. It's so delicious.
It'd be hard to resist all that beautiful golden sunshine, those incredible minerals, and all that wonderful water in Maui, and then that beautiful, beautiful fruit. I mean, I've seen the market, I've seen the fruit. It's the variety and the types are so stunning. That would be truly a challenge.
Right. Actually, people can go to Instagram and just type in Okoa Farms, Okoa Farms. And Ryan, the farmer, most weeks he'll do a video of our whole farm stand. It
Beautiful.
is outrageously beautiful. People walk up and, oh, you know, the carrots are like a foot and a half long and with the greens attached. And most people don't cook the greens, so we chop them off. Well, we bend them off and feed them to our chickens. And
Oh,
we have free range chicken eggs every week. So we have a great time. But anyway, thank you for that comment. What was the comment by Gina?
she just asked about your weight loss. Did you lose that 5 pounds over the fruit? So the answer is yes. And
Yeah.
also, Super Dougie just wanted to stick up for you, Dr. Dean. And he said it's ridiculous that Dr. Dean cannot mention her own products on this show, but Big Pharma can blast their drugs for every medical condition right on network TV.
Uh, you know, that's another thing, actually, Super Dougie. Bobby Kennedy wants to stop the television drug advertising, direct to consumer advertising, which is it's just horrible. That's what kind of got me kicked off of The View in New York. I used to do
Mm,
The View back in the 90s. And when they started doing the direct to consumer advertising, I was persona non grata. And I've said this before. If I was a drug company, I'd say in the contract, do not have people like Dr. Carolyn Dean on who will say you don't need drugs. So they just jumped into the big pharma bucket. And it is probably going to ruin mainstream media when the pharmaceutical companies can no longer advertise.
yes, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Very good. All righty. Comments are clear.
Okay, so the next article, actually, this is kind of a maha move, Jenny. Trump, this is the headline: Trump blocks Medicare obesity drug coverage.
Mm,
Seriously. The Trump administration revoked a Biden plan to allow Medicaid to pay for obesity drug injections, which would have totally bankrupted the country.
correct.
Yeah, we talk about weight a lot, but especially around the injectable weight loss drugs. So, um, yeah, it was incredible when I did just a little bit of math on the $1,000 a week for the injectable and the number of people on Medicaid who were overweight and obese who would want the drug. It would seriously bankrupt the country. And what I want to move to next, it's related to weight, but I think it's time we looked at the total biology, German new medicine conflict of obesity. What do you think about that, Jenny?
Fantastic.
So there are several biological conflicts which program obesity and overweight.
Mm,
These conflicts concern the following: abandonment. So if you've been abandoned, attacked, molested, you put on weight in order to be seen,
mm,
in order to protect yourself. I mean, it kind of makes sense. There, number two, that was listed. This is a lecture, an in-person lecture that I took in total biology about the figure. Uh, what they say, it's a devaluation a person feels when they have a shock every time they see themselves in the mirror, and the shock actually makes them build more weight trying to protect against the shock. So it's
Mm.
just a constant, oh my gosh, look at myself, I can't stand it, and then tighten up. And then I think it's more like biochemically, it would be the tightening up against that shock would create cortisol, and cortisol stores fat.
Mm.
So there's a biochemistry involved. Then they talk about indigestible lack, and this is not having enough milk as an infant.
Mm.
So, I mean, that can be children who were not breastfed, or um, in whatever, for whatever reason, they didn't feel they got enough nutrition or nourishment as an infant. Now, I would even say that can be an abandonment issue if the mother didn't bond with the baby, and there was not enough skin to skin touching and the feeling of safety um, for an infant. An infant can feel abandoned at birth if the mother doesn't bond.
Well,
And um, the number four, it's much, well, I've already kind of incorporated some of this. I take on fat to protect myself from a contact that would be dangerous. I store fat in order to be imposing and to survive. And number five, identity, conflict over the right to exist.
mm,
Number six is I'm getting fed up with you, fat as a separation from an aggressor. I mean, a lot of it is protection,
right.
protecting oneself with the shell of fat. And I have a lot of words. I'm not going to go into them about these different aspects of, but if people want to explore more about total biology and German New Medicine, it's mainly the German New Medicine people that are putting out the information. We recommend Danny Carroll. So it's Danny-Carroll.com, and he has free books on German New Medicine that are really fascinating. And I wonder if our listeners are looking at Danny's information and following him. I'd like to
Okay.
put that in the
Everybody on the chat line. Yes. Okay.
okay. Any questions, Ginny?
No, Rachel, our producer, who's constantly consuming Dr. Dean's show and always getting aha moments, said that she realizes that some of her health challenges, as far as overweight is concerned, are related to the issues that you're talking about. So I think it's common that people do have those issues. And also, in the inner city, where you find a lot of obesity and unresolved anger and all kinds of other things. I mean, obesity is a challenge, but it does fall at the class level. There's a disproportionate amount of overweight people in the inner city and in poverty echelons than there are in the higher income echelons. And a lot of that has to do with food consumption and ultra processed food, as we know. And a lot of it has to do with emotional terror and instability.
Right, right. Yeah, a thought just came to me about uh, people who are psychic or sensitive, or they have a lot of empathy. They, I think in general, I don't think it's an error to say that they put on weight as protection. I met this woman in Costco. She works in Costco, and Ginny, you would love her.
Mm,
She just vibrates. She's
mm.
either Samoan or Hawaiian. And when I see her now, I just go up to her and hug her, and I get a magnetic charge.
Oh, wow.
And I tell her, and
Wow.
and she said, praise Jesus. She says, God bless. And it's like she's not
Correct.
claiming that she's the powerful one. She is the powerful one.
Right.
She uh, And I don't know what her world is. I just think it's amazing that there are people in this world that are like that. It is, and she's a big girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Very common with healers. Yeah.
the healer. Okay, then the next article, the high risk of low magnesium. Now, this is Life Extension. They've been around forever. They put out a lot of good information. They're also a big supplement seller. They sell hundreds of different supplements.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and I'm not keen on that because it's confusing for people. A
Yeah.
lot of them are synthetic. People are marketed to think that they need to have
Yep.
2 dozen different dietary formulas, whereas we just know you need our little handful. But at any rate, they put out good information, and this was like a little booklet on magnesium. Of course, they got some things wrong. They're still talking about 300 enzymes that require magnesium to function, but it's more like 600 to 800. Of course, they didn't talk about our picometer magnesium, and they talk about all the studies showing the benefits. And like we said before, the FDA only lets us say magnesium might be helpful to blood pressure. And I say it's 80% of people who probably have magnesium deficiency. I think they're saying 60. So
Hmm.
they go on for, I think it's like 1,500 words. They have 51 references, and it's very comprehensive. So people can read that article. I'm not saying you have to read it, but to me, it reinforces how important magnesium is. But you know what I'm going to do now, Ginny, is go over our study, our Purdue University study.
Oh, yay!
Hmm.
Yay!
So this is the title is Circulating Ionized Magnesium, which is what our magnesium is. It's a stabilized ion of magnesium. So the title, Circulating Ionized Magnesium as a Measure of Supplement Bioavailability, results from a pilot study for randomized clinical trial. So it was a human study. It was in the journal Nutrients 2020, volume 12, page 1245. And probably Melody Rose will put the URL for it up because you can read the whole study. So the study highlights from our research head, Dr. Taylor Wallace. He said, the ionized magnesium test is the better marker for magnesium. Serum magnesium is bound up and not usable. Magnesium ions are available to use in the cells. So, all the studies we've done, we test using the ionized magnesium testing, which is like the sentence says, the body wants the ions. So we test for the ions. How many ions are there in this body? So then the second point, using a molecular size analyzer called Malvern Zetasizer Nano 25 from Malvern in the UK, we confirmed that the majority of the particle size of the REMAG formulation is in the picometer range. The test was repeated 3 times, and he says that because he couldn't believe it. He says he didn't think that we were telling him, I guess, the truth, that this liquid bottle of magnesium could hold magnesium in the ionic state, because that's not how magnesium hangs out. It is a compound. It is always bound with something. It's so hyperreactive, and all minerals are like that. Minerals do not exist as ions, except the ones that we make. And number 3, REMAG goes to the ionized magnesium status and is not bound up. What I just said. Its small size allows it to be absorbed higher up in the GI tract and avoid the laxative effect. Number 4, magnesium compounds like magnesium citrate and magnesium oxide will eventually be ionized somewhat, but they never revert back to a compound state immediately, and therefore don't have as high an absorption efficiency. And I've said that many times. A compound, it's all bound up, and it will disassociate periodically, but then it quickly binds up again. It's only when it disassociates in an infinitesimal second that it is in the right form to be absorbed into the cells. And then he says, elevated ionized magnesium was measurable in the blood within 2 to 4 hours. And then I'm saying, as a sidebar, our head of research, Dr. Taylor Wall, has said that this fluctuation with one single 300 milligram dose of picometer magnesium is very important. He said he would not have anticipated blood electrolyte levels changing with one single dose. And then number 6, clinical investigations have demonstrated that ionized magnesium, but not serum magnesium, is depressed in a number of clinical conditions such as migraine, diabetes, asthma, and high-risk pregnancies. Number 7, a subclinical magnesium deficiency can occur when serum magnesium levels are within the lower range. Therefore, serum total magnesium levels may not be sufficient for diagnosis of deficiency. He finishes with, our findings of a more robust ionized response when compared to serum magnesium are similar to those reported by Altura et al. So the Alturas, Burton and Bella Altura, who are magnesium researchers, they've written over 1,000 papers. They use the ionized magnesium test. So that sounds great, doesn't it, Ginny?
It's so incredible, and we have the evidence of it all the time, Carolyn, and we know people's response. It's like a peak experience drug almost. I mean, some people use it and they're so energized by it. It's hard for them to understand the reaction to it. So, I mean, I think that it's just incredible. We're so fortunate to have this product, and we're very fortunate to have done the work with Taylor at Purdue University, which is an incredible research facility. We were there and we met the staff and we experienced the whole ride. It was fantastic. So yes, it's amazing. And nobody's got a study like that. Nobody.
No. And we blew them away. There were no magnesium researchers available. The people that were doing the studies for us, we paid for it, were calcium researchers, and they were blown away. We got them all to go to a magnesium conference at the NIH was in Washington. Where were we?
It was in DC in 2019.
Yep. It was awesome. Yeah.
It was very awesome. Yeah. And at that time, we learned all of the research from around the world. It was an international conference. And we saw what people are studying all the world, that they were sharing their research papers, everything from eye disease to Epstein-Barr and fibromyalgia and all the causes of chronic fatigue. And I mean, it just went on and on. Heart, blood pressure, on, and bone, right? And brain, cognitive, preventive things. It was so incredible. It was just so incredible. So yeah, that was a great time too.
Okay. Will I do another one? Do we have a few minutes?
Well, we are right here, almost at the close of the show, and we probably should wrap it up. Okay. So we can make a few announcements, one of which is you're always going to want to go to drcarolyndean.com, bookmark it, subscribe, make sure you're getting the regular updates. Everything that Dr. Dean has to say, you're going to want to note it and participate with that. RNAreset.com is Dr. Dean's product website, and it is so packed with information. There are not enough headers across the top. It's across the top, and then it's down wide, and it's got everything on it, from our Certified for Sport program, where we're doing blood doping testing for the product so we can work with the most elite athletes in the world. And believe me, all those words are coming in a big gushing stream that we're going to share with you. It's got all of our professional people on there, all of our influencers working with us and our products. It's a blog. It's got everything. And then, of course, Pico pets. And we love our pets, and we want them to have the very best. So those are Dr. Dean's resources. And it's just an unbelievable world of unfolding all the resources that are available and all the wonderful things that you can do for yourself and your loved ones, including your furry pets.
Yeah, and Ginny mentioned earlier, I have a charitable foundation, which I created it to help support organic farming here in Maui, and that you can see at parageniusfoundation.org.
Yeah. Melody Rose put that up a little bit earlier, but we'll scroll through and find it and stick it back up again. Melody Rose will put that right back up.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for tuning in on X. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for being here next week with us again. We hope you have a fantastic holiday weekend, whatever your form of faith is, that you'll be celebrating something wonderful. And we'll be back next Monday, right, Carolyn?
Oh, yeah. Next Monday and every Monday.
Forever.
Aloha.
Forever. Aloha.
Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.